This and Roots Roasting are two of my favorite places where I just think they have some of the actually best like coffee beans in all the Twin Cities. It's right here in Cathedral Hill, St. Paul. Let's get after it. In today's video, we're talking about how do you get your first luxury client, whether that's buyer, seller, or whatever. How do you get your first luxury client? Let's talk about it. How's it going, friends? My name is Jesse Lynch. I run multiple real estate teams around the United States. And on this channel and in general, what I'm really interested in is helping real estate agents, new and old, do real estate on their own terms, do things a little bit differently. So if that's you, come hang out for a while, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified so you can see when we're putting these videos out. And if it's not, I guess keep it moving. There's plenty of people doing stuff the old way, doing things in a very traditional way, and that's not what we're doing here. So first things first, there may be some exceptions to what I'm about to say. Some of y'all may just slip in and accidentally wind up with a luxury client. And I'm gonna make another video on this channel right after this, basically. Hopefully it'll be one of the next ones out about how to help your first luxury client. Because even though I believe that you should probably be giving every single client like the full package, if you will, the reality is you may arrive at a point where what you've been giving every client needs to be leveled up. And hopefully then you can trickle down and continue to give, non-luxury clients that full package. But I think you just have to be aware that you're in like a different league now. But what to do once you have the client, that's gonna be for a different day. And this is, how do you get that first client? How do you purposefully attract your first luxury client? Not how do you accidentally end up with one. How do you, if you have never had one and you would like to begin to dabble or direct yourself toward that market, how do you do it? And maybe some of what I'm talking about is burying the lead, right? Maybe I'm implying a level of intentionality, right? And a level of attracting. And if you're picking up on that, good. Some people don't, right? Some people will never understand that like you have to do certain things to attract certain types of customers. But that is the reality. That's how every single business works. And we have another video on this channel about how to choose your avatar, right? How to create an avatar, which is basically one specific customer that you are talking to, and you design the ideal customer. And so if that is luxury, then a lot of what you're doing, a lot of your behaviors are going to shift, not even just ever so slightly, potentially very, very dramatically. But the first thing that I think you have to do, right, the one must, is your marketing and the content that you're creating, involved in your marketing, has to be intentional and has to show that you have the potential to take on a client. I think there's a fine line between saying that, oh, I'm a luxury agent, if you've never helped one. I think you have to steadily work your way up to helping luxury clients. But you can signal to luxury clients that although this listing that I have, that I'm marketing is not a luxury listing, it is marketed in a way that would do justice to a luxury listing. When I first started my YouTube channels, and basically when I first started my real estate brand, I would say what I do is help first-time home buyers and relocations. And I was very happy doing that. I was really busy doing that. And first-time home buyers is a niche, right? Relocation is a niche. I often found that I found an overlap where a lot of the people that we were helping were first-time home buyers and were relocating, right? So we were getting people from California or the West Coast in general, moving to the Twin Cities, who never could have afforded a home where they were coming from, and suddenly they were coming here as first-time home buyers. So there was a nice overlap. And whether either that's two niches or that's one even more specific niche, which is kind of what it ended up being for a very long time. But at some point, I realized that I would like to, and I had the confidence to start working with higher end clients, right? I was like, man, I really like looking at those homes and that would be fun. So then what I did was I got specific, I got purposeful, I got intentional about the content that I was making, and I started to make content around neighborhoods that were more high-end, right? Suburbs and also city neighborhoods. Like what I'm doing today actually is a neighborhood called Cathedral Hill in St. Paul. It's really, really beautiful, and the median sales price here is probably double what it is throughout the rest of the Twin Cities. And so at some point, I stopped saying what I do is help first-time home buyers and relocations. And I just decided I'm just going to say relocations is what I do, and it's what I do better than anybody else. And then in that, I could decide to make content that was starting to shift more toward higher dollar amount clients. And we still help people get into very affordable houses, so it's not something that we've dropped completely. It's not that we don't help people with that, but our marketing is shifting toward higher end clients. And so that has to be a decision that you make, and it will take time, right? So you have to be careful about making that decision and not flip-flopping and not going back to, oh, you know, now what I do is first-time home buyers, down payment assistance, right? Videos about down payment assistance probably don't apply to any luxury home buyer. So I had a lot of those videos, and either I had to basically make them private and take them off, or if I thought they would still be helpful to people, I could leave them on the channel. But now I can't really be making more of those videos because, again, if my goal is to attract not first-time home buyers, then that content won't speak to them. So to sum that up, I shifted my avatar. My avatar was here and quite focused, and all I did was slowly shift it over to a little bit more of an expensive price point. And I slowly worked my way up to that, to now, you know, I'm lucky enough to be helping people sell $2 million homes, right? Rather than $200,000 homes, although we still do those too. And when it comes to your content being very targeted, some of that is just acting like you've been there before and not telegraphing signals that you aren't familiar with higher end properties. Really early on, I come from pretty humble beginnings, pretty humble backgrounds, and really early on, I was saying things in videos like, whoa, this area is really expensive, and like really like telling people like, I am not familiar with high-end areas and I don't know what I'm doing. So act like you've been there. Don't telegraph people that you know, that you're a noob. Don't telegraph that you're not familiar with that sort of part of the market. Another thing, which I think is a little maybe ironic for me to say because of the way that I do, but I think it's really important to consider and pay attention to and just be hyper aware of how you present yourself. And so that could mean how you dress. I tend to think that that doesn't matter anymore, and that's dinosaur shit, as long as you are somewhat well put together, right? Which is something I guess I struggle with. I obviously very much, a lot of my brand has to do with authenticity. It has to do with actually knowing things about homes and knowing things about marketing. And so for me, the way I present myself, while maybe somewhat casual in dress, in hairstyle, in, you know, whatever, I think that that works for me. I'm very, very conscious of it. But what then I have to make really, really sure of is that the way that I'm presenting myself beyond that is at a very, very high quality. The way that I speak, the way that I market homes, the quality of the video that I put out, all of that has to be really, really professional and somewhat undeniable. It's a little bit of a weird reference, but Steve Martin has a book called So Good They Can't Ignore You. And that's my theory. I have to work harder, I have to work smarter, I have to know more, and I have to present that to the world and be so good that people can't ignore me. And I think it's important for you to know that it's gonna be a gradual climb. It's gonna take time to get up to that, unless you are just born into wealth or something, right? Unless maybe not born into, maybe you're in a situation where you arrived at, that you find yourself amongst wealthy people all the time. Okay, then if you become, you know, a realtor, maybe you can do that, right? Maybe you'll start to get higher end clients all the time. So don't be afraid of the ascent, right? Just know that if you're not doing luxury right now and you're really far away from that, just slowly keep ascending. put in the work, continue to grind, and you will rise. And I would say use that rise, use those steps strategically. Know that a $300,000, buyer or seller can help you gain trust with a 350. A 350 can help you gain trust with a 4 or 450. 450 up to 6, 6 up to 8, 8 up to $1 million, and so on. And because people want to know that you are capable of handling the transaction that they need you for, right? And so if they have evidence or proof that you've done it in the past, or that you've done something very close to it in the past, they're more likely to work with you. This might be a little bit of a tough pill to swallow because it means more work for some people, but the reality is you're also going to have to possess more knowledge. You're going to have to be more knowledgeable, and you're going to have to be able to speak to that knowledge with confidence, which is not something that everybody possesses. You're going to have to do the work to learn the things that you want to learn. You're going to have to learn about architecture, style of homes, even elevated systems in more expensive homes. As I have sort of worked my way up to more expensive things, there are things in homes that I never knew existed, right? That I didn't even know was possible because I had never seen it on HGTV or Architectural Digest or something like that. But you got to do the work. You got to put in the effort, whether it's reading, podcasting, listening to an audiobook, or just looking at more houses, talking with builders, things like that. You got to put in the work to, possess the knowledge, and then you have to be able to speak to that in a way that makes you, comfortable, or in a way that makes you the expert and that other people will trust. And then lastly, once you are getting a client that's closer and closer to a luxury client, you have to, increase your standards. You have to increase what it is you're providing for them, because if you're making the same percentage on a much higher number, you probably should work a little bit more. And not only that, but luxury homes are often more difficult to sell. So how are you going to sell it, right? How are you going to negotiate it, right? If you're helping a buyer, negotiations get a lot different on the luxury side of things. So you not only have to be prepared for it, but you have to be prepared to level up every time you actually level up. And then that should trickle down, and that should help your not luxury clients, right? Because you figured out systems to help difficult to sell homes, to help clients who know more, and now you will be more of an expert for, let's say, more middle of the road clients that don't require that from you. And that's all I got for this video. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.